Hey, Andrew Logan here. Welcome to another YouTube video. And today I want to take you through the journey of the associate. It's a training I like to call the journey of the associate, helping you understand the process, what's going to happen, the journey you're on, so that A, you can set the correct expectations for yourself, understand all the things that are happening and aren't happening, are potentially normal, or identifying any challenges along the way. And also, and really most importantly, knowing how to set your people up for success. Because if we want to take advantage of leverage, if we want to take advantage of duplication, we need to set people up with the correct tools, with the correct system, and with the correct expectations. Because it's expectations that really make a massive difference in this business. I'm going to talk about that a fair bit. So let's get started. Right now, if we kind of look at this as a, like a little graph essentially, and this is, how much money you're making, and this is the time that you have been involved. So we'll talk about it, we'll sort of, like flip back and forth between if this is you just starting or this is you helping your teammates start. But essentially, we all start, day zero, $0, and we go out and we have excitement, we have energy, we have enthusiasm, and we have a new product, a new system, a new opportunity, a new vision, and we're gonna go out there and we share it to our marketplace. Now, normally, hopefully, our friends will support us. Some of them will. The reality is most of them won't, but some of them will. Some of them will believe in us, and our companies will offer a lot of front-end bonuses at the start. So the companies are gonna say, you know what, we're gonna give you like fast start bonuses and stuff like that so that we can help you start earning an income straight away. You can start to see the potential that's coming and what's going in. Now, the really, really important thing here is that we need systems and tools, okay? We need systems and tools because the brand new person here doesn't really know what they're doing. It's pretty unlikely that they've ever done this before. Sometimes they have some experience, but most people are gonna come in without any experience. And so we give them templates, we give them scripts, we give them a system to follow, we give them the tools to set them up for success, okay? And the more we can set them up for success, the faster we can get this curve going and they are happy, okay? Now, the flip side is, at this moment in time, they are what we call unconsciously incompetent, okay, from a learning process. And what that means is at that point, they don't actually know what they don't know. They've come in with excitement, with enthusiasm, ignorance on fire kind of stuff, but they're also just following our systems and tools. So everything's gonna be at a point where they're just having it happen around them, and they're going out and talking to a network that they've developed over years. They're friends from way back in high school, people they've worked with, people they've known for years, and they're basically using a lot of the trust and that they've developed over time. Now we're cashing in on that, and that is great, but it also means at some point there's going to be a wall that we hit, okay? There's gonna be a point where we start to hit a point where our social media posts just don't get the traction. All the people that we already know in our current warm market, in our current circles, have kind of signed up, and we need to go out and we need to start developing cold market strategies. We need to develop business coaching strategies. We need to actually coach people, and we need to learn the skills. Now, what that does mean is that financially, we're gonna see a little drop, because the universe is just gonna reset a little bit. We've come out with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, but we didn't really know what we're doing. And then we hit this point called the OSM, which is the oh shit moment, right? And this is where suddenly some of that enthusiasm can go down. This is where suddenly some of that energy and excitement can go down. Because in the first week, you put up a before and after, and 50 people commented. And now it's week 8, week 10, week 16, week 20. I mean, some people this hits very soon. Some it doesn't hit for 3, 6, 12 months. Some people have huge networks or incredible results, but at some point this will happen, and the post that you used to put up that got 50 comments now only gets 2. And that's when people are going to be deflated. And again, this is either you right now, or this is the people you are going to work with. And the business is just gonna go flat a little bit, their engagement's gonna go down. And this is what we call consciously incompetent. So we were unconsciously incompetent here, where we didn't even know what we don't know. Now we're consciously aware that actually, hang on, maybe I don't know what I'm doing here right now. Maybe like the things I've been putting up on social media, maybe they aren't as good as I thought they were. They got a lot of traction at the start, but now that traction is dying, and we're all gonna have those moments where we doubt ourselves. And this is really, really normal. And in fact, it's essential, okay? And we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I want you to think about the first time you learned to drive a car. Now, when you're little, you know that you just get in a car and you arrive at your destination. You don't know anything else about the car. You just know that if you get in a car and you sit there and you put your seatbelt on, you will arrive at your destination. You're unconsciously incompetent. You don't really know what's going on. And then one day you get your license and you're all excited and you get in and you have your first driver's license. Now, I mean, showing my age slightly here, but some of you will remember driving a manual car. Some of you may have never driven a manual car, but we all get excited until that first time we stall it in traffic and there's horns beeping and people are yelling abuse at you because you're holding up the traffic lights, all that kind of stuff, and you've stalled this car and you don't know what to do and you just think, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Because everything that we thought, we've suddenly just found out it was totally wrong. And we have those moments where we doubt ourselves. Now that is in everything. You can have relationships, where that person's amazing and perfect and all that kind of stuff. And then and then one day you kind of meet their parents or something and it's like, and you just have this moment of doubt, okay, about, whoa, hang on, is this the right thing? So this is totally normal. Totally, totally normal. And this is to the point where we're like, actually, you know what? I need to learn skills. We need to go to the point where we go past tactics, what we call tactics, where we're following someone else's tactics. Someone says, this is the system we use. You are following their tactics. This is where you need to actually develop your own skills and your own fundamentals. Okay? This is where we need to learn the fundamentals of networking and marketing. Okay? We need to learn how to create our social media brand. We need to learn how to talk to people in our cold market. We need to learn how to business coach and mentor people, because this is a profession. This is like any profession. In my old life, I had to go to university for 4 years to learn how to deal with the human body. Now, yes, you still had days where you're kind of up and down and all that kind of stuff, but you knew you had the expectation, and we all had the expectation that we went in for a 4-year degree. It's going to be 4 years until we know what we're going to do. And in this business, in network marketing, sometimes here, circling back to expectations, sometimes the problem we have is that our expectations are off because of the steepness of this curve, okay? Now, back when I started, again, showing my age, we didn't have all these front-end bonuses. We didn't have a lot of these kind of, fast start bonuses. Companies are doing more and more of that now. What it meant was that when we started, we just sort of went like that. We didn't have these big bursts at the start. So, you know what? Our expectations were very different. Our expectations were, well, it's probably going to be 3 to 5 to 7 years before we really see that huge curve. And my mindset was always, well, I went to university for 4 years, and then it took me about 3 years on the job to work out what I was doing. Then I bought into a business partnership, and it took me another 3 years to really know what I was doing there, to actually really get my feet under me there. So in my profession, my old profession, my previous profession, it took me a good 10 years to be comfortably earning a really good income with a really good work-life balance where I could travel, work 3 to 4 days a week and take home a good income. Now, we had a very good life in that regard, but it took 10 years to get there. And there were so many times, especially at university, where you're earning negative. Like, those 4 years at university, at least here we're earning some money. For 4 years at university, I'm earning negative, like underneath the line, right? Then you come out and then, you grow and you develop as a therapist and develop as a professional, right? If we're going to call ourselves network marketing professionals, we need to understand that there is an apprenticeship in here. The only problem is that the apprenticeship sort of happens here. And our expectations can be that this is our apprenticeship. And the worst thing with expectations is sometimes people come right out of the blocks screaming. In the first couple of weeks, again, they've got big networks, they have incredible results, and they have this huge growth here. But what tends to happen is that the OSM hits sooner and it's sharper. So often, the quicker the rise, the faster the descent as well. Again, we talk back to ours, it was like, well, it's chugging along, but hey, it's probably gonna take 10 years. Let's see where we are in 10 years. That was always our expectation. The thing that I knew with physio was that I had maxed out. Like we'd down here, up, and then we'd come up. But at that point I had maxed out. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build this because one day it will go like that. One day it will go like that. In physio, I'd hit a ceiling. One day it will go like that, and it will if you stay here and you develop the skills and you become consciously competent, where you know what to do. You're unconsciously incompetent here, you don't know what you don't know. You're consciously incompetent here, you realize that you don't know what you realize stuff that you don't know. And then we develop the skills, we develop the fundamentals, we learn how to network properly, we learn how to market properly, and we come to a point where we're consciously competent, where we can drive that car down the street without stalling it, okay? And we go out and we start to really see this curve take off. We start to really see that duplication because we know how to coach a team. We really start to see this acceleration because we know how to attract and mentor leaders. All those skills that we need to develop. We go through this process. And then at this point, you hit a point where you're unconsciously competent, where you've just been doing this for so long, it's almost like you can do it in your sleep. It's just natural to go out and connect with people. It's natural to ask them great questions. It's natural to set someone up and get them going in the best way because you did the work. You developed the skills. And in the same way now, there's times where you can drive your car and you get home and it's like, how did I get home? I don't actually remember driving half that time. I just kind of was just unconsciously competent. I was driving and I was singing a song and I was thinking about the YouTube video I got to create. And I'm thinking about how, don't forget to pick the kids up kind of stuff. And all of a sudden you're home and you've done all these things because you're unconsciously competent, right? That is the process of learning. We need to be so aware. We need to set people up for success. But we also need to make sure that their expectations are right here. Because too often when this is sharp, we make the mistake as well where we double down. I'm like, oh my goodness, this person started yesterday and they've enrolled 17 people. Like, watch out, new #1 income earner coming. And then all of a sudden they have this moment where I'm like, I've got to coach and support 17 brand new people and I don't know what I'm doing and they don't know what they're doing, but they've all bought this stuff off me and they just get overwhelmed, right? They get totally overwhelmed. Sometimes these people who are a little bit slower out of the blocks are the ones who end up here because their expectations are different. They expect to take a while. I expected to take 7 years to earn 6 figures in this industry because that's how long it took me in my other profession. In my profession, in my business, it took me 7 years to start earning 6 figures consistently. So I had that expectation that it would take the same. Now we did it much faster. We got 7 figures in 7 years actually, but the reality was my expectations through this challenge were totally different. So we didn't have this challenge where it was like, you know what, I'm gonna quit. Yes, we had days where we doubted ourselves, but we never had days where we said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. I was making $1,000 a week a month ago, and now I'm only making $200 a week. I was always like, wow, like in 4 years of physio, you made zero. So the fact that you're making $200 a week after 6 months, you're already 4 years ahead of where you were, like in your other profession, right? Your apprenticeship comes after. We have to remember that. At this point, you are following someone else's tactics. You are following someone else's tools, and that is okay. Just understand it. Just remember it. Just say, you know what, I've made some really good money to get me started. That's awesome. I'm not gonna spend it all. I'm not gonna blow it on stupid things. I'm actually gonna use this money to kind of put away because I know there's a dip coming, and I'm gonna use some of that money to like invest in my education, invest in myself, so I can shorten this skill development learning phase. I can, you know, like learn and get those skills up and do all that in my personal development so I can shorten this curve. The biggest problem comes when our expectations are that it is always gonna be this easy and always gonna be this fast. Yes, there are a lot of bonuses at the start. Yes, we want to maximize them. We want to take advantage of them. But we need to know and we need to expect that there are challenges coming. But it's through here that we develop the skills. And the final thing I'll say on this, and the most important thing, is if you want to attract leaders, this is where you find them again. You do not find your leaders here. You do not find the leaders here. Leaders are in here, because leaders know what to do. They know the way, they have gone the way, they know how to do it, and they can show people. They know the way, go the way, and show the way, right? So they know the way because they've gone through. Again, at this point, this person, yep, they enrolled 17 people in their first week following someone else's system, okay? The leader develops their own system. The leader develops their own skills and fundamentals. The leader develops their own personality and their own brand, and they do it in their apprenticeship. The apprenticeship just comes 3, 6, 12 months later. In every other profession, you do your apprenticeship and then you get paid. We get paid first, and then we need to go out and do our apprenticeship. Now, if you can understand that, and you can set your people up for success, and you can set them up with the correct expectations, you can give them the systems and tools, keep them happy at the start, obviously, but then say, hey, John, awesome, mate. Jane, absolutely amazing. You made like $1,000 this week. That's awesome. But hey, probably about 800 of that was actually just bonuses. 200 of it was volume. Now, if we're talking like long-term, just understand that the $200 of volume is incredible. The $800 of bonuses, that's not gonna last. Like they're temporary, right? So let's just put them aside. Let's not blow them. Let's not do anything silly with them. Let's put that money aside because it's one-off. It's not sustaining. It's not residual. A small percentage of it is residual. But you know what? We're going to use that money to shortcut this process here, shorten it up, condense it, and get this curve up here, because the worst thing in the world is when they do that and then they go off and say, oh yeah, I did that thing for 3 weeks and it didn't work. And it only takes one person to say, oh, I did it for 3 weeks and it didn't work, for 10, 15, 20 people to say, yep, see, the business model doesn't work, it's a scam, it's a pile of crap, all that kind of stuff. Hey, they made $5,000 in their first week. Their expectations were just that they would make $5,000 a week for the rest of their life. And we need to make sure that we set the correct expectations for our people, because if we set their expectations correctly, they will get results. They will come out of this curve, they will come out of this dip, I should say, and they will accelerate through this curve, and they will have an incredible business if they're willing to just do an apprenticeship. Now, I hope you got value out of that. I hope it's given you a better understanding, a clearer picture of what you need to do, okay, what's ahead. If you need help with the skills, the fundamentals, the development along the process, okay, yes, my book has some systems and tools in it, but it's mainly about skills and fundamentals. Grab a copy of my book. The link below will get you there. It's called The Way Out, and it's going to give you the skills and fundamentals to get here, become an amazing leader, become a great business coach, and turn your team, yourself and your team, into an incredibly freedom business setup. Guys, I hope you got value out of this. If you have, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we'll see you for another video really soon. Catch you then.